Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Here.
Councilmember Litzo.
Here.
Councilmember Sears.
Here.
Councilmember Wertz.
Here.
Councilmember Zimmer.
Here.
Councilmember Dewey.
Here.
Councilmember Gibbons. Here.
Thank you. We have a presentation tonight, the Human Rights Commission Dennis Hart Award for Excellence. And I'd ask Jeff Morrison, Chair of the Human Rights Commission, to come forward. And there he is.
I'm the current chair of the Human Rights Commission. I have two commissioners from the 9-person commission here. You can see them. This evening, I'm introducing our 2023 Dennis Hart Award for Excellence awardee. Every fall, the Kirkwood Human Rights Commission seeks nominations from the community for its Dennis Hart Award of Excellence. This award, named in honor of the late Dennis Hart, who was a past commission chairperson, recognizes individuals who have worked to foster mutual respect, eliminate discrimination, and promote diversity and inclusion. This evening, we recognize our 2023 recipient, Tom Tacek, for his commitment to these goals. Mr. Tacek has been a 17-year member of the Community Gospel Choir of St. Louis, which is composed of singers from various area congregations. The choir's purpose is to promote diversity and inclusion through its performances. Mr. Tacek serves on the choir's board. He volunteers as its communication manager and also performs with the choir. Its most recent performance in Kirkwood was during the January 15th Martin Luther King celebration at Kirkwood High School, which featured State Supreme Court Justice Robin Ransom as the keynote speaker. Mr. Tacek is the head of the Racial Justice Ministry at Kirkwood United Methodist Church, and in this role, helped to start the Heart-to-Heart Tutoring Program. This program is staffed by community volunteers who, with the assistance of the school district, provide help to underperforming elementary students after school at the First Baptist Church of Meacham Park and at Robinson School. Lastly, Mr. Tacek is also concerned about the declining socioeconomic and racial diversity in the community due to the lack of affordable housing. He is one of the leaders of the Kirkwood for Everyone group, which seeks to address this issue. The Human Rights Commission is proud to award Tom Tacek its 2023 Dennis Hart Award for Excellence. Tom. Okay, could we have a couple pictures up there, Shep, of you and the mayor, and then we'll get to everybody.
Yeah, I think you should be in the picture.
Here, I'll take it.
I'll take it for you, okay? I got it.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Well, his name's.
All right, we have two public hearings tonight. The first is for the City of Kirkwood budget for fiscal year 2024 to 2025. Mr. Hessel, do you wish to enter any exhibits into the record?
I would, Mayor. I would offer as Exhibit 1, an affidavit of publication verifying notice of public hearing appeared in the St. Louis County, and, pardon me, I will note that a summary of the proposed operating and capital budget appeared in that public notice. Exhibit 2 is an affidavit of publication verifying that the notice of this public hearing was published in the legal ledger. And again, the summary of the proposed operating and capital budget appeared in that notice. Exhibit 3 is the affidavit of publication verifying that notice of this public hearing appeared in the Webster Kirkwood Times. And again, the summary of the proposed operating and capital budget appeared in that notice. And Exhibit 4 is the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kirkwood.
Thank you, John. Mr. Hawes, who will present this to the City Council?
This would be Jen Forgy, City Assistant Finance Director.
Welcome, Jen.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, council members, Mr. Hawes. The proposed fiscal year 24-25 budget presented tonight is balanced in accordance with Missouri state statute. A copy of the proposed fiscal year 24-25 budget is also available on the finance page of the city's website for all residents to review. The budget process began in late July with department directors and managers updating the 5-year capital plans under the supervision of Mr. Hawes. Due to the implementation of the new ERP system, the city departments worked with Mr. Hawes and the finance department on their operating budgets, requests, reviews, and edits before the first official draft of the budget was produced in late December. Additional reviews and edits have occurred since December, creating the proposed budget presented tonight. The Citizens Finance Committee met weekly with various department directors during the months of September through early January, reviewing strategic areas of the budget as it was being developed. In a work session on January 18th, the committee presented their report to council. The fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget includes anticipated income/revenues available to fund the total citywide appropriation request of $122,457,000, with the general fund and electric fund each comprising of 29% of this total. The general fund provides the funding for all general city services, which includes public safety. In addition, the fiscal year 24-25 budget projects grant revenues in the amount of $5,161,000 for the various city street improvement projects. The Public Works Department, under the direction of Chris Kruger, is doing a tremendous job securing federal and state grants that typically cover 80% of many of our major infrastructure improvements. The proposed budget also includes an appropriation in the amount of $4,727,000 for lease payments due on various leases. Finally, the proposed budget includes a request to reappropriate $9,680,000 for previously approved projects that will not be completed as of March 31st, 2024. I would like to thank all the department directors and managers, as well as the Citizen Finance Committee members. And that's all I have.
Do we have any questions for Jen? I know we've all read our books last few months and everything. Any questions? Councilmember Litzo?
Not really questions, Mayor, but just a quick chance to reiterate what Jen said and thanks so much to the volunteers on the Citizen Finance Committee. Thanks so much to Sandy Stevens and the yeoman's job of creating this amidst, adopting and implementing our enterprise resource program, which is a brand new thing that's going to spread across most all departments in the city of Kirkwood. It's a huge job that is still has a ways to go to finish, but I recommend anyone who's seriously interested. It's a beautiful document. It lays everything out with whatever you want to know about the finances in the city of Kirkwood, as well as 5-year capital plan. It's quite an accomplishment. And thank you so much, Jen, for for what you
Welcome.
do. I look forward, Mayor, to our special work session on February 9th, where council's going to look in detail at a few of the things that are on the table for this coming year's budget. So that's where I'm going with that. Thank you.
Thanks. Do we have any other council comments or questions? All right, seeing none, do we have anyone wishing to speak on the budget?
Mayor and council, we have no requests for comment at this time.
Okay, thank you, Jen. With that, this public hearing is closed and this item will be on our new business agenda on March 7th. Now we'll go to our second public hearing, which is on the downtown special business district budget for fiscal year 2024, 2025. Mr. Hessel, do you wish to enter any exhibits into the
I
record?
thought you'd never ask.
I didn't think I needed to after all these years.
Exhibit 1 is an affidavit of publication verifying notice of public hearing appeared in the St. Louis County. Again, the summary of the proposed special business district operating budget appeared in that notice. Exhibit 2 is an affidavit of publication verifying notice of public hearing appeared in the legal ledger. And again, a summary of the operating budget was included in that notice. Exhibit 3 is the affidavit of publication verifying notice of public hearing appeared in the Webster Kirkwood Times. And again, a summary of the proposed special business district operating budget appeared in that notice. And Exhibit 4 is the Code of Ordinances of the City of Kirkwood.
Thank you, John. Mr. Hawes, who will present this to the council?
I'd be Donna Poe, President of the Special Business District.
Welcome, Donna.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Very nice to see all of you. Our budget, as you know, is much more simple and less complicated and smaller than the city's budget. Our total budget proposed for the next fiscal year is $401,950 with roughly $290,000 being special business district expenses and $113,000 being farmers market expenses. Our revenue is mostly derived from business and property owners and promotional partners that fund our activities of the special property taxes. Commercial property taxes, business license fees, and administration of the farmers market are our major sources of income. We do not receive any tax revenue from Kirkwood residents' personal property. On February 28th, we are holding our annual meeting of members and sharing the budget for the upcoming year with our members. The proposed budget has also been available for viewing on the Downtown Kirkwood website. Expenses are mostly lumped into 4 categories. The main one is administration, expenses for personnel running the office supplies, things like that. Second area that we spend a fair amount of money on is public area enhancements. We partner with the Parks Department to plant the pots and keeps the public areas looking attractive in our business district, and we transfer funds to them for those services. We have numerous promotional activities, marketing activities that consume most of our discretionary budget. And we have activities planned throughout the year. Many of these events you're all familiar with are annual events and longtime favorites such as the Summer Concert Series, Peach Festival and Sidewalk Sale, Route 66 Festival, Halloween Walk, and Holiday Walk. The details and some of the event expenses and schedule are in your budget document. Last of all, we fund the farmers market activities, and we will continue to manage the space rentals and marketing for the market, weather permitting. A partial opening of the market is planned for late March with the 2004 spring opening planned for April 6th. And that is all I have, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Donna. Do we have any questions for Donna? All right. Thank you,
Okay,
Donna.
thank you.
Do we have anyone wishing to speak on the SBD budget?
Mayor, council, there are no requests for comment at this
All
time.
right. Very good. With that, this public hearing is closed, and this will also be on our new business agenda on March 7th. Now we will go to public comments.
The public comments portion of the meeting is an opportunity for the city council to listen to comments from citizens. It is not a question and answer session, and the city council will not respond to comments or answer questions during this period. The mayor may refer any matter brought up to the city council to the chief administrative officer or city clerk if action is needed.
Thank you. David, we have people wishing to speak.
Mayor and council, we have several requests for comment at this time. The first is Phyllis Koch. Or Coke. Sorry if I mispronounced your name this evening.
Say it louder.
What, yeah, can you say a lot? What's,
Louder.
No. The first is Phyllis Coke or Koch.
okay. We'll come, we can,
Here we go.
oh, come on. Will you, can you come up? So everybody can hear you? Mike moves to,
I was not here at the last
pull that
meeting.
down too. Yeah.
I was not at the last meeting where a recusal was requested. And I feel very strongly that it should have been considered more seriously. I believe, and I read in the quotations in the newspaper, which may not be correct, you were concerned that everyone know that you would not have any financial part of this proposal for Jefferson Avenue. And Mr. Hessel, do I remember, were you quoted as saying that it was perhaps accusing the council members of not being honorable or qualified and so forth? That was a quotation in the paper and it could be incorrect. But anyway, I don't think that either one of those things has anything to do with recusal. Recusal is when you are part of a situation where you are not really free to vote as you should. And I regret that the recusal was passed by. I think it should have been stated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Powell.
I just had some
Okay.
questions. I was not, and thank you for listening and the mayor. So on this new project that's going in downtown, I was just curious because I just recently read about it and I guess I didn't either understand it or haven't read that much about it for what was being done. And I was curious because I know anytime that we talk about traffic safety or safety for kids or for roadway traffic or for pedestrian traffic all across the United States, we have multiple ways of resolving that. And we're talking about now taking a road or city street out for that, which I was really surprised because a lot of areas across the United States, either I've been involved or we've changed different roadways for this reason. So I didn't understand what the whole plan was. And maybe I'll read it later. I don't know, but I just didn't understand because there's all sorts of programs out there for lights, police, security areas, traffic control. And this goes for anything from schools, parking lots, airports, or whatever. So I didn't understand quite why we were talking about giving up a road. The reason, I guess, of that is we are putting so much effort in the Kirkwood to building up the core center of the businesses and the growth. And we've all been here a long time, so we've seen a tremendous growth. Why would we take out a street or a major artery going to the businesses? I didn't understand that at all either, because to me, that's reversing of what we want to do. The next part of that is underneath all of this put together, and I didn't know how far this was down the road, or if an architectural engineering firm's been involved through an A&E or what, because I didn't understand. I know what I've had to do in the past, and I wanted to know if the detailed documents for the study group for the business traffic flow safety or business traffic flow period, the cost study to local residents and what their issues might be, the cost and the city security study for the emergency management has always been a major issue anytime a road or traffic road is removed. And I didn't understand for sure if all these have been reviewed and there is something to read, is this going to be made public? So I don't know where you're at within the whole program, if this is just in the very beginning of it.
And you'll hear, we're addressing it tonight,
Okay.
later, so.
So that was my concerns and what I know that had to be done in the past for other areas. So thank
Thank
you.
you, Dave.
Appreciate it.
Mike Fitzgerald.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening. My name is Mike Fitzgerald. I live at 729 Cleveland Avenue, Kirkwood. I appear before you tonight to urge you to vote no on the St. Peter's proposal to vacate the right-of-way on West Jefferson Avenue. I think it's an unworkable and unfair plan with too many unanswered questions. I will go through my objections in a moment. First, I want to say something very important. Something that isn't said enough. Thank you. Thank you to all of you, Mayor Griffin and all members of the City Council, for so selflessly devoting your precious time and energy to serving the citizens of Kirkwood and making it a better place according to your best lights. I think all of you will agree with me when I say one of the hardest parts of your job is the fact that occasionally you are asked to vote on very tough issues that will inevitably disappoint friends, family, and constituents, regardless of how you vote. And some, which brings me to the St. Peter's proposal. In some, I think it's a bad idea, and I urge you to vote no on it. I think it's a bad idea because voting yes means rejecting certain key facts. First, that creating dozens of diagonal parking slots on the west side of Clay while taking out parking on the east side will create a traffic mess. A mess that's exacerbated by the influx of new traffic caused by the imminent opening of Four Hands Brewing a block south and the plan narrowing a Kirkwood Road just 2 blocks to the east. Second, the St. Peter's plan only makes sense if you pretend that the safety of school children is the primary concern here. Obviously, it isn't. St. Peter's informally unveiled its Jefferson closure plan nearly 9 years ago. So if student safety was such an urgent concern, then why didn't they formally introduce the idea, say 7 or 5 years ago, or even a couple years ago? Why are they engaging in the enormous cost of a formal proposal now? Surely it can't be a coincidence that the parish is making this proposal less than 2 months before the April 2 elections, which will give us a new mayor and 3 new council members. Obviously, parish leaders must feel that the time is ripe to push for this plan now. This proposal makes sense only if you pretend that the people of St. Peter's will control this site. Truth to tell, the Archdiocese will control it, and we really have no idea what their plans are for it long term. Finally, this plan makes sense only if you pretend that giving the Archdiocese such a lopsidedly unfair and unprecedented gift will provide even 1 iota of tangible benefit to the people of Kirkwood. And at this point, what net benefit, if any, Kirkwood residents will receive from it remains a very big and very open question. In conclusion, I urge all of you on the City Council to vote no on this proposal. It's unworkable, it's unfair, and it's unlikely to pan out as advertised. It would create a bad precedent that will haunt Kirkwood for many years to come. Thank you.
Ty Wilson.
All right, my name's Ty Wilson, and
You
good
can pull-
evening.
you can pull that up.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, thank you, members of the council and mayor, for inviting us all out tonight to give our comments on various issues. I'm here just for the St. Peter's proposal, as I urge you all to vote no on it because I feel like it's one of those issues that very lopsided. I feel like Kirkwood does not, the community of Kirkwood gets very few benefits, if any, and the benefits are very exclusive to the St. Peter's, as well as I was looking at the proposal, and the parking spaces that go diagonal are facing the opposite of the flow of traffic, which I find kind of interesting, just so we'll make traffic just harder to navigate, as well as the fact that at only 1 net gain a parking spot. So what's the benefit for Kirkwood? Also, I feel like traffic safety is very important, but I feel like if we're going to get rid of a whole road, it should be more than just simple issues that we can fix, such as having full-time, maybe even we could, for example, we could put up a traffic meter, or not meter, what's the crossing thing, meters such as that. Or we have many solutions to this issue that are not just blocking off a road so that it's harder to get places from Jefferson Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty.
Ryan Denninger.
Good evening, Mayor, councilmen and women. Thank you. I know I've had an opportunity to get to know many of you for the 6 years that you allowed me to be on the Citizens Finance Committee. So thank you very much. Full disclosure, I'm very active in the Boy Scouts here at St. Peter's. In fact, we postponed our meeting later tonight so we could come talk. I'm also on the school board of St. Peter's, even though I don't have any children anymore that are at that school. There are clearly safety issues there that I'll go into very briefly. Even when our Boy Scouts meeting is at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night, the parking lot is 2/3 full. Very few of the parking lot is actually St. Peter's people. It's the business community, which all of you that have known me over the finance committee, I'm very pro-business and want to continue to grow downtown. But even at 7 o'clock on a Thursday night, there are safety issues when it is very dark on all the corners. But I would like to address it too as, the city's done a great job with economic growth in downtown Kirkwood. I've heard several of the citizens, and there obviously everyone is entitled to their own opinions, which is wonderful. Not only does this plan open up potentially 25, 27 different parking spots on the street, maybe an additional 37 with an additional parking lot, but I think everyone in the community, or many in the community, are also forgetting that St. Peter's has been a very good neighbor in sharing the 133 parking spots that is our parking lot. And when you look at downtown, the commitment that St. Peter's has made to the economic growth of downtown as a private parking lot. And, I'm all excited that Four Hands is going in just down the street, but without the St. Peter's parking opportunity, I don't even see how that business would even enter that opportunity. So I would take a look at it as it's not only a safety issue, it's an economic issue that I believe St. Peter's has been a really good neighbor with the citizens of Kirkwood and downtown. And I think that the citizens as a community also have to take a look at, it's not just the additional parking spots on the street, which are very helpful. It's the 133 parking spots that are currently available right now in our own parking lot that allows so much of this economic activity to grow. And without it, the future expansion of downtown pretty much stops. And those of you that know me being very pro-business, I don't want it to stop. I want it to continue to grow so that we have all the economic opportunity that our families and our citizens need. Thank you very much for your time, and I would appreciate your vote yes on this opportunity. Thank you.
Travis Rodden.
Hello. First, thank you, Mayor Griffin and Kirkwood City Council for this opportunity. My name's Travis Roden. My wife and I have 4 children. We've lived in Kirkwood about 5 years. We are parishioners, and 2 of our 4 children do go to the day school at St. Peter. I live right pretty much at the corner of North Harrison and West Jefferson. So for the last 5 years, I've seen day and night the activity all around there. I'm a runner. Our kids walk to school. My wife and I are frequently out walking into downtown to enjoy that, all that it has to offer. And seeing West Jefferson and the intersections that are there and cars coming up through there, there is a lot of distracted driving, a lot of speeding. The lighting is not really great at night. And I feel as though that this is, to me, a core safety issue. During drop-off and pickup, there has been so many cases where kids will dart across. And this isn't just the St. Peter, as some of the folks have said. St. Peter is one of those areas, and it's part of the fabric of Kirkwood. We have, this isn't just a St. Peter community, this is a Kirkwood community. We have kids coming from all over the St. Louis region coming to a CYC game and running across that street to get into the gym for volleyball, basketball, what have you, and they're not familiar with the traffic there. And so I have seen, again, so many cases just being right there and living there and frequenting that area all times a day that it's something that's concerned my wife and I from the very beginning, that, from the time that we've lived here. So I just want to say, humbly that I urge you to vote yes on this matter. I think I agree with all the economic issues that Brian has brought up, but also for me, it's a safety issue, and it's only a matter of time before something horrible happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jeremy Cozart.
Hello, how's everybody doing tonight? My name is Jeremy Cozart. I'm a resident, or I live at 432 North Van Buren. I'm here to express my support for the closing of Jefferson between Clay and Harrison. My wife and I moved here roughly 9 years ago. We've been together for over 20 years. So we've had the privilege of living in multiple states and cities together. Every experience has been great, and we loved each one for its own reasons. However, we knew from the moment that we landed in Kirkwood, renting at the time, that we had found the community we wanted to raise our children in. Kirkwood's a magical place. I've personally not witnessed many communities like it. And at the center of that magic is St. Peter's Parish. It is the reason why my wife and I chose Kirkwood as our forever home. From day one, the parishioners accepted me and my family as if we had grown up within the parish our whole lives. I'm here tonight to support our parish and state that we desperately need to consolidate our campus. Our children need to be able to commute across the grounds without the threat of traffic. This is the right thing to do. I understand that there's a small minority that opposes this. I also understand that that small minority is the loudest. I even have the pleasure of knowing some of the small minority. We catch up every year at St. Peter's Fest and while crossing paths at St. Peter's during CYC events. I don't understand why they're so vocal when at the heart of this issue, it is the safety for our children and the opportunity to make our campus whole. We're simply asking to close 400 feet of street for the consolidation of our church, our school, and the safety of our children. Approving this is the right choice. It's the right choice for Kirkwood, it's the right choice for St. Peter's, and it's certainly the right choice for our children. Please make the right choice, and support the consolidation of our campus. Kirkwood would not be the same without St. Peter's at the center of it. Thank you.
James Hawk.
Mayor, Councilman, I'd like to, and particularly Attorney Hessel, I'd like to challenge you on this, on the West Jefferson situation. The first thing I'd like to say is I'm against it, so you know where I'm standing when I start. If we turn over the street to St. Peter's, then we need to put a codicil on the agreement. The codicil needs to be very clear that they can't build in the easement or the street, that if the school closes, that the city gets it back for $1 and the parking places. If it's not an economic issue, but actually a safety issue, they would sign that immediately. But with all the things that are going on with the Archdiocese and the way that they're handling schools, properties, and everything else, we need to protect the city from the Archdiocese and their implications to what we can do for our traffic flow. I think it's the wrong decision, but then there's a second point. We're talking about closing West Jefferson for a school that runs 180 days a year, that does not run 24/7, 365. There are other alternatives that can be put into place. We've talked about gates, we've talked about overpasses, we've talked about other things. Those are the things that we've never seen a true financial study on, and that does not close the street. Those are alternatives which need to be put forward to the council and to us, but I'm against doing it unless you put the codicils in. If you go ahead and do it, I'm against it still, but if you go ahead and do it, then the codicils need to be there. If the school does not take and agree to that, then it's not a safety issue. It's building a campus downtown. We're not talking, the reason for this is not to build a campus for St. Peter's. It's to literally, keeps claiming safety for children. And I think in going forward, that codicil needs to be put in on the property. I think it'll be a driver for the future of how Kirkwood handles it. And I think it'll protect Kirkwood from any other decisions made that we're out of our control. We will still have an impact on that property. So thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Clement.
Hi there. Good evening. My name is Jennifer Clement. I live at 319 West Jefferson Avenue, which is 1 block west of St. Peter Church and School. I am very opposed to this proposal to close the street. I appreciate that St. Peter is growing. The school's growing. Great, good. Hey, it's what every private entity wants. We're growing. We're getting more students. We're getting more people. That's not what you hear going on across the St. Louis area. So good for them. However, just like any private type of company, they can't just say, oh, we're just going to take this street because we need to grow. If this were a shoe store, would this even be considered? No. If this were a Shakey's Pizza, would they be like, hey, we don't want to put a patio out front. That'd be great for the safety of our customers. We think we need to take that street. No. You guys have a problem. Your problem is you're growing. That's a good problem. Come up with some better solutions. Here's a solution. You can build on the property you already own. You have that lovely grassy area. You have an enormous playground. It's a huge playground. Build on that. That's a great idea. Here's a great idea too. Pack up and move. Buy land that's actually for sale. Build whatever campus you want. Make all your dreams come true. You can do that. You can buy private land that someone wants to sell you, as opposed to taking a public street that the public is paying for. I moved to my house 25 years ago. One of the reasons I bought on West Jefferson Avenue is because I wanted to live in downtown Kirkwood. I'm a city type of person. I realize Kirkwood is not hugely urban, but I wanted to live in the city grid. I wanted to be downtown. I wanted to feel that energy. I don't want to live where my street ends in a cul-de-sac. And people who live on a cul-de-sac, they buy where their house is because they want to live on a cul-de-sac. I bought my house because I didn't want to live on a cul-de-sac. We're talking about economic growth. Again, good, go Kirkwood. I love that. How hard does a special district work to bring people into this downtown area? Hey, come shop, come eat, come hang out, come enjoy. It is a magical place. Great. New person, doodly doo, turning off a Geyer up Jefferson Avenue. I'm going to go right into downtown. Why am I suddenly in the middle of a cul-de-sac? In the 200 block of West Jefferson Avenue, you're in the downtown area. You're not out in the suburban area. Please vote no on this. This is a bad idea. It's a strange idea. There are so many alternatives to solve the safety issue. The children, it's not the safety of the children. The children can be taught, hey, it's a school, let's teach you. Look both ways. If you take a look at the traffic, there's going to be a traffic study. The most traffic is from tick, 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 people dropping their kids off at school and then picking them up. How about you spend all that money instead of on the company that's going to tell you, here's a plan for a campus, spend it on getting crossing guards, spend it on a better light system to cross. Don't close down a public street. People use the public street. They like having a public street. It's been there longer than the school's been there. It's happy there. I like having it there. Closing that street does not benefit all of Kirkwood. It benefits St. Peter campus. And I appreciate that the people like their church. I appreciate that they like their school. I get that. But this is a different issue. If they really, really want a unified, larger campus somewhere, they can pack up and move someplace where they can do that. Thank you very much.
Alan Frost.
Good evening. When I was here 2 weeks ago on this topic, I said something that was clearly a mistake. I said that this should be put off until after the election. After thinking about that some, I think no, the correct answer is it needs to be decided before the election so that those of us who vote can take that into account when we decide who to retain on council and who to elect as mayor. Now, we've heard talk about the issue of safety for people crossing the street. Well, there's a stop sign on Clay, there's a stop sign on Jefferson, stop signs on Harrison. It's, you could cross at the stop sign, wait for your turn, instead of racing across the middle of the street, as we've heard described here by people who are dropping their children off for school or basketball or volleyball or whatever the case may be. I certainly don't pretend to know how any of the rest of you behave, but when I took my children to scouts or sports or other after school activities at the school, I parked the car and we all walked to the school together. I didn't dump the kids out and go home. I went to the activities with them. There was no issue about running across the street because I accompanied them and we walked. That's not what I've heard described here numerous times from numerous people, and it seems kind of silly. In terms of traffic, Tuesday, 2 days ago, I sat at the corner of Jefferson and Clay and watched the traffic problem, the egregious traffic problem on Clay when children are leaving the school. Shortly after 2:30, two groups of students crossed Jefferson, going north. In both cases, they were accompanied by adults. They went in a group. They weren't dribbling across one or two at a time. There was no problem with traffic. There were a total of 18 vehicles that traversed the 200 block of Jefferson during that time. 10 of them going westbound, 8 of them coming eastbound. One of them was a truck, a delivery truck that turned west and then a few minutes later turned around and drove back east on Jefferson because obviously it was in the wrong place. Every car, every truck stopped at the stop signs. On one occasion, after the bulk of the students had crossed the street, one person was crossing in the middle of the block. A car was coming eastbound. They stopped for the person in the crosswalk, waited until the person had reached the sidewalk before they proceeded. There's no safety issue here. The school has been there, to my knowledge, for at least 30 years, far more than that probably. Have we had any children hit by the cars? I don't think so. We certainly haven't heard about it in these hearings. We didn't hear about it 2 weeks ago. We heard about a car that ran into the corner of the school building well after school hours, which is so concerned the school that they did nothing about it. I don't understand that in the least.
Alan, I'm going to have to ask you to move on. We've got a lot of people who want to speak.
So the fact of the matter is, this is an opportunity which has given rise to an excuse for something that doesn't exist. It's not a problem looking for a solution. It's an opportunity looking for an excuse to do something that's in their wildest dreams that has no basis in fact. So I did figure out the reason why this crazy back-in diagonal parking on Clay is requested. That's obviously to facilitate the parents who are there to pick up their children after school or to drop them off in the morning. Because then you can get more cars into the street. And it's not a coincidence that this diagonal parking is on the west side of the street as opposed to the east side of the street, which would be closer to the businesses.
All right, Alan.
On the west side, because
Alan, I'm going to ask you to say, we've got a lot of people want to talk. We try not to put a time limit, but we can't, thank you for your words. I appreciate that. David, who do we have next?
James Lewis.
And by the way, I will do that from here on. I try to let people go, and people from both have gone on, so I'm going to keep everyone very brief.
Evening. I'm James Lewis, 234 West Jefferson. So I am in favor of the proposal that's on your new business. I like it because I see it as both beautification with some of the trees and the park-like setting, as well as the additional parking. I'm not concerned about emergency response. Where I am, the fire department will have to drive, west and then come back to my house. But most people in Kirkwood are going to get far less response than those of us on anywhere on Jefferson. It will make the block safer. Since I've lived in the house 10 years, there have been 5 accidents that I'm aware of, including 2 that affected my property. I think we need the additional parking, and whether it's pull in or back up, whatever, I think the people that make those decisions have thought it through. I don't see how the vacating of the property, that my understanding is St. Peter is going to give back a lot of property in return. So it's not a land grab that a lot of people are claiming. I think there's an exchange of land. And I don't see how it's going to affect traffic. Personally, I use that area a lot, and I often use Harrison instead of Jefferson, so I can get to Adams, which is really the main thoroughfare. There's not that many people that, in my opinion and my observation, go down to Geyer. Adams is a better solution. I think in just listening, I don't agree with a lot of interpretation and people that are trying to villainize and say St. Peter thinks this. I don't know what they think. I think the proposal is presented in a good faith effort. And I moved here to be close to downtown. We had a property that was going to be 6 blocks away, and this came up and we sold that and moved to where we are. So we absolutely will be affected by a change, and I believe truly in a positive manner. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alan Clipper.
By way of correction, it's Alan Clipple, 235 East Jefferson Avenue, Kirkwood, USA. I just lost my presentation. However, the gist of it is that I would encourage Mr. Mayor, council members to consider St. Peter Catholic School in this petition that's been submitted by St. Peter Catholic Church. St. Peter Catholic School provides an alternative to the Kirkwood Public Schools, and it is an important contributor to the quality of life in the city of Kirkwood from an academic, athletic, involvement, and city center location aspect. Strong public schools are an important criteria in the evaluation of the quality of life in the city. And I feel that St. Peter Catholic School helps fulfill that criteria. So I would urge the city council, Mr. Mayor, to vote in favor of the petition, not only in support of a strong and involved Catholic Church, but also in support of St. Peter Catholic School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Craig Danforth.
Hello, I'm Craig Danforth. I live at 241 West Monroe. It's the corner of Harrison and Monroe. And my wife and I strongly oppose this because we feel like it's going to really increase our traffic around the house and for all surrounding streets that are close to St. Peter's. But I think the real problem is it sets a precedent to allow a private organization, a church, and a private school to take over a public street. And I urge you both, urge you all to vote no against it. Thanks.
John Pennington.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is John Pennington. I've been up here a few times presenting and understand the challenges with big issues and the fact that very rarely will there be unanimous support on topics. On behalf of Savoy Properties, I wanted to present some information that we submitted to you all earlier this afternoon. I'll keep my comments brief. For those in the audience, we did submit a letter of support. Without getting into details of why we support the project, I think it is crucial to step back and understand the history of public-private partnerships and the relationship that St. Peter's, the Archdiocese, and the city of Kirkwood has had over 150 years. St. Peter's began in 1832. They purchased 80 acres. It was farmland. 20 years after, a group of 40 landowners within the church community established and incorporated the city of Kirkwood, named after James Kirkwood, the engineer in charge of surveying the land laying on the Pacific Railroad, a project that was already underway. The planned railroad, as we all know, runs through our central corridor. It also cut through the 80-acre tract of land that St. Peter's purchased. The Archdiocese gave 5 acres to the railroad for $5. What would have happened if the Archdiocese and the leaders of the church did not gift that tract of land to James Kirkwood and the railroad? Fast forward to 1938, the old Adams Public School, owned by the city of Kirkwood, was being razed. St. Peter's, in need of expansion, made an offer to purchase it. Little did they know there was an option or a right of refusal that the city had to purchase the property. It created controversy, discourse, differences of opinion, no different than what you have here today. The city decided to sell the ground to the church, the school that currently sits on the north end of Jefferson Avenue. For more than 150 years, the Archdiocese, St. Peter's, and Kirkwood have worked together. They've benefited together. They've done business together. Public-private partnerships are not new. That's how things get done. That's how progress is made. So without pointing fingers at the people who are against it or for it, we got to step back and realize the history. These are not issues that we should make in vacuums. These are impacts for years, decades, centuries. And the relationship of leaders and forefounders of James Kirkwood, its constituents, are a reason why we stand here today. So I urge you to look at the decision and the implications that it will have and the great relationship the city, the church, and the community have had and the benefits we've shared over the years. Thank you for your support.
Paul Ardavani.
I gotta admit, I wish I didn't have to go after that because that was awesome. Thank you for that.
Paul, talk to us. Don't worry about John.
Okay. Hello, thank you all for having us here tonight. My name is Paul Ardacani. I am a parishioner. I also volunteer at the school and I'm on the CYC St. Peter Athletic Board. My wife teaches Catechesis of Good Shepherd there, both to the current students that go there and PSR students on Tuesday nights. I am here to help you guys see yes and vote yes on this proposition for Jefferson. And I'm only here to address two facts, is that we hear other people talk about different options or only school hours. This thing goes way beyond school hours. We are one of the largest CYC organizations in the city. With that, 50%, if not more, of our students, or I should say our athletes, are non-parishioners. But we welcome them. We want them. We want to bring a safe, fun environment to learn sports with their friends with a faith-based background. But we also have growing problems, which are a good thing. That being said, we don't even have room in our own gym to do our father-daughter dance anymore because we are supporting basketball games or volleyball games on a regular basis. So my ask is look at it from not just a school hours, but look at it from almost all hours of the day and on the weekends. We have basketball practices and games hour after hour after hour. Volleyball practices and games hour after hour after hour. Saturdays and Sundays, we are stacked with games in that gym. So that crosswalk, that section of the street is being ran back and forth with not just children that are at the school, but non-parishioner children as well. We are all one, and that's why we're looking to consolidate this, to make a safe environment for everybody. That being said, the other issue I wanted to address is we are a large parish that brings in a lot of other parishes to our games. Volleyball and basketball are our second and third largest sports we offer. Hundreds of families are coming in to this area. And what that does is benefit downtown Kirkwood. After a basketball game, you look out, you see all these jerseys sitting at Mike Duffy's. You see all these jerseys going to Amigos of multiple different parishes, multiple different areas. That's what this does. It provides us that opportunity to grow Kirkwood and to open its doors to others around it. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope you vote yes.
Mayor and council, there are no additional requests for comment at this time.
All right, very good. We'll move on to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions or comments?
Mayor,
Councilor Litzo?
yeah, real quickly, in the interest of full disclosure, I just want to mention that regarding item H, the resolution regarding the contract with Core & Main, my husband and I own some shares of stock in Core & Main, but the value of it is, I mean, nothing that comes even close to any of the financial thresholds that would require recusal or anything like that. But I just wanted you all to know that we have this relationship with them, and I plan to sit here at the dais and vote on this.
Okay. Thank you for that. All right. Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Consent agenda passes. We'll go to, excuse me, unfinished business, Bill 11023.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance appropriating $300,000 from the Certificates of Participation Series 2024 to the Parks and Recreation Building and Site Improvements account for city community center renovations.
Any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Litzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Bill passes. Go to new business, Bill 11024.
Mayor and council, this is an ordinance appropriating $101,000 from the Park Improvement Fund to the Parks and Recreation Building and Site Improvement account, project number PR 2402, for Kirkwood Aquatic Center Leisure Pool and Lazy River sandblasting and painting.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I got a motion, a second. Are there any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor of first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Bill passes first reading. Bill 11025.
Mayor and Council, this is an ordinance vacating a 60-foot wide right-of-way located between Block 16 and 21 of the town of Kirkwood and dedicating to the city of Kirkwood portions of a tract of land being part of Lot A of St. Peter South Boundary Adjustment Plat as recorded in Plat Book 350, page 657, and a tract of land being part of Lot A of St. Peter North Boundary Adjustment Plat as recorded in Plat Book 350, page 658 of the St. Louis County Records, all located in Section 1, Township 44 North, Range 5 East of the 5th Principal Meridian, City of Kirkwood, St. Louis County, Missouri.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
All right, a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion, a second. I'm going to speak first, and I'm going to, before I start on this specifically, I do something I don't normally want to do. There's been talk of things that I said in the paper. I've had friends call me, and I understand. I haven't seen it. There's a letter in the Webster Kirkwood Times attributing comments to me, and I'm going to read that in a second. I want everyone to know I was asked by print media, TV media, to speak on this, be interviewed. I said, no, I don't do that before meetings. But I want to read this directly out of the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and it supposedly has been attributed as a quote about me. The church, of which Mayor Tim Griffin and a city council member are parishioners, says the deal is a win-win, and goes on from there. That is not, I didn't say a word. I don't know if the reporter is here. I think it's worded kind of awkwardly. Tim Griffin did not say this is a win-win. Tim Griffin did not comment to anyone on this. I don't do that. And I just want people to know. And again, I've not read the letter in the Webster Kirkwood Times, so people need to know that. And I just want to say that totally up front. The writer of the article did ask me to speak, and I said no. So thank you for indulging me in that. All right. On this proposal, I'm going to say a few words on it. I think in the long run, unification and consolidation of St. Peter is a good idea. I think stability at the west border of our business district is very good, and this will bring that growth of St. Peter, benefits not just St. Peter, all of Kirkwood. As many people have said, right or wrong, St. Peter is an institution that's been here longer than the city of Kirkwood, and if it does well, Kirkwood does well. Enhances walkability, which is a very, very big thing, and beautification, et cetera. So we've got a plan before us. As I said, in the big picture, I think it's good. I don't think this is the right proposal, but I can get to the point where it's the right proposal. So if this passes first reading tonight, and I don't know if it will, I'm willing to vote for a first reading. And on second reading, I would propose to make the following amendments. These aren't the actual amendments. I would work those out because some of the opposition is, I think, very accurate on some things. I don't think this is a fair trade-off. But so what I would do if this gets to a second reading, I would propose changes to the parking agreement. Basically, they would consist of a couple of things. I'd have to obviously talk to city attorney. Kirkwood and any parking agreement must agree to a termination or a change in location or reduction in number of spaces. We cannot vacate a street and just in 10 years lose the parking and go on 1 year. It can't happen. Or we make the lease and again talk to Mr. Hessel about this to a much longer period, could be the maximum permitted. So the trade-off is just not there. Vacating land is important. I'm okay with it if we, in this location, if we get what I think we need in return. Kirkwood also would pay nothing for maintenance or there's nothing in the lease for now. We will pay nothing. This will all be on the city of Kirkwood. Excuse me, all on St. Peter. Secondly, there's a lot of talk about the diagonal parking. This is a proposal St. Peter made to the city. We don't know if we want diagonal parking. So what I would propose is that the offer of the 2 feet of right of way, we would want it and accept it. And at the same time, we would also want the cash that would be proposed, which estimate, I think someone said 400,000, as part of this verification by our public services. We would want that and the right of way, and then we would decide if and when we wanted to do anything with that. And the money would not be, if we don't do it, it goes back. That is money that goes to the city. And last thing, it would be that the traffic study must be confirmed by our professional staff that traffic on, in the whole area, including Clay, Argonne, Adams, Harrison, et cetera, if this were closed, would be minimal. The impact would be minimal. So if this passes first reading again, if it does, those would be amendments that I would propose for next meeting. So council comments. Councilmember Litzo, you're first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate what you just said. I want to say thank you to George Stock and his team, and thank you for the CBB traffic study, which I did glance at. It hasn't gone through staff full review and all of that. I did note that actually there's not a whole lot of traffic outside of the local traffic associated with the school that uses West Jefferson's. So it seems to me that as far as concern with the safety of school children, that maybe there would be some possible tweaks in order on West Jefferson to allow the kids to cross the street a bit more safely. But we've already got a striped pedestrian crosswalk. There's already a signal there, which is pedestrian activated, and it's red, yellow, green, so drivers would be compelled to stop. Speed limit is 15 miles an hour during school hours from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. There may be other kinds of things that could be proposed, but I'm just seeing that they're really, aside from parents picking up and dropping off kids, West Jefferson to me is, you always have to exercise necessary caution. My parents certainly trained me how to cross the street with or without them. So just education with the kids is important. I don't see, at peak hours or during school dismissal that there's an overwhelming number of outside cars. There could be things within the campus, within the church, within the school administration that speaks to the kids, works on various kinds of safety matters and dealing with cars. And you still have lots of auto traffic within the campus itself on the parking lots. So the kids have to be mindful of automobiles. As far as the question of vacating a portion of West Jefferson, I think there are so many complex issues involved with this, but to narrow it down to just the vacation and dealing with utility easements and all of that, and the question, which is put to me as a council member, of weighing public benefit, I just don't feel that there's a sufficient compelling reason or reasons to do so tonight based on the information that I have right now. Thank you.
Councilmember Sears.
Sure. One of the things I'm sorry that you're going to have to deal with tonight is that on a controversial issue such as this, I think it's important that we each state our rationale and our thinking so that people understand two things. One, the reason for our decision. Two, that our discussion should reflect to you that we've heard from everybody. When we take that
responsibility seriously to listen to what you have to say and consider that in our decision-making. So that's what you'll see demonstrated tonight, though it takes a little bit of time for each of us to go through this. I wanted to answer a few questions that have come up in some of the emails and comments that we've heard. One thing that I see all the time whenever there's a controversial subject, and it came up again over and over again in a lot of the emails, people were some flabbergasted that council would even consider such a thing. We get that kind of input from people all the time, and I just thought for a little bit background, or the reason why we do it is because that's our whole job. People, every resident in the city of Kirkwood, every property owner, every citizen has the right in business, has the right to petition their government for something they want to accomplish. This is not, like anything that comes to us isn't a frivolous issue. I mean, and this one's certainly not. It comes in good faith and with a lot of background. It takes a lot of work actually to get, by the entities to get in front, to get to this night, because it doesn't come to us until staff looks at the paperwork and make sure everything is in order. They go back to the petitioner and say, well, we need something to, some gap filled in, and so we need more paperwork or another study or whatever it is. And then then finally it comes to us. So it's not frivolous. We consider it because everybody has the right to do it. And that's our job, is to with respect, treat all applications, all requests before us, and give it the dignity of a full, fair review, which means there's the hearing we had and the discussion and the opportunity for the citizens to give us a lot of input. So that's why we consider these things. Nothing that gets to this point is kind of just thrown out there to see what will happen. There's been a lot of work in advance. People also ask, why don't we have a complete picture of what's going to happen to that campus before we think about deciding on this question, whether we should vacate the street? There's very good reason for that, I believe. For me, and I think it's what we all have to do, is the vacation of the street has to be considered on its own. The question is vacating the street in the best interest of the citizens of Kirkwood? Or you can state that a bunch of different ways, but basically, does Kirkwood benefit from the vacation of the street? Once the street is vacated, that's a permanent decision. It's gone. So it's a very important decision to make. If we were influenced by drawings, presentations of what was going to happen there, we might be very disappointed when, and I'm not speaking about this proposal, but if some other developer, maybe doesn't get the funding or doesn't, there's something, and what you expected to happen and the reason you gave up the street never materializes. So we look at it on its own. I also have to say, based on some comments that we had, is that, I don't know what you all think, but we think we're your neighbors. We sit up here. There was a trust placed in us by the voters to give us this responsibility. And sometimes it's a really heavy responsibility that we shoulder. I mean, all the time it's important, but sometimes it's a heavy responsibility. We, for the most part, I think we enjoy the role, but we honor it. And we know that our role is to always act in the best interests of all of Kirkwood. So I'm absolutely confident that because I know them so well, these people that sit up here with me, and I'm absolutely confident. And, if I could, I'd certify to you that everybody here will do just that and honor the role that they took on and for which they were shown the trust of the community by your votes, to whatever decision they make, to consider the best interests of all of Kirkwood. I want to talk a little bit about civil discourse, and I think in this case, I'm always impressed, usually with, always impressed on how Kirkwood citizens handle these things. I see how things are treated in other cities, other environments, and you see city council meetings. We have people who disagree, they're passionate, and they spend the time to do the research and come to before us with comments. And nearly 100%, it's vibrant and civil discourse. It's respectful and, like I said, passionate. Sometimes some of us let that passion get us carried away a little bit. And so things can get personal and be hurtful. And there was a little bit of that. And I wish I didn't have to acknowledge it, because I believe on the whole, everything was, all the input was welcome and civil and respectful. A couple other questions. Won't this set a bad precedent? That question comes up almost every time we make a decision, if the public is making comments. And I think, a decision to vacate a street, first of all, it's not, the answer to that question is no, it wouldn't set a bad precedent either way we decide this. Wouldn't set any precedent at all, good or bad. That's because every question about vacating a street is completely within the council's discretion. So whatever we decide tonight, we exercise our discretion in one particular way, and the next one, we exercise it in a different way. Also, every street throughout the city and every piece of land adjoining that street are completely different. So you would never have the same situation twice in a question like this. So it's not going to be precedential. And finally, on that topic, as a general proposition, I believe that every request that comes before us deserves to be considered on its own, without regard to what some theoretical possible situation that comes up in the future. Right? You handle that one on its own. If it's good, approve it. The next one, if it's good, approve it. But if it's bad, don't. And you aren't always stuck in those situations. So now, on the issue at hand, I do absolutely respect the mutually beneficial relationship between the St. Peter and the city. Valuable and a contributing institution to the fabric of our community. I also understand the request. I think it makes sense that St. Peter would make that request. It's a legitimate request with some work that they've done behind it. They've been trying to figure out different ways to approach the issues that they see. My job is to review the proposal and determine whether it benefits Kirkwood overall. I respect the mayor's position, and it's interesting what he stated tonight. I've seen him work like this before. He's really good. He's a great problem solver, and he sees ways to get what he believes is best for Kirkwood. It also shows that he doesn't support the current proposal, and he has set out conditions that would earn his approval, I think. And I agree with all the items that the mayor listed. I think that would have to be in a proposal. But to get my vote, that list is a little bit longer. I'm not going to make that list, but I'm just saying there's more benefit to Kirkwood that needs to be shown than even what the mayor set forth. I find that the current proposal not sufficiently beneficial to the citizens overall, and I don't think it meets the bar even if it included the items that the mayor set forth. So the path for me is just different than what the mayor is going for. The path for me is to deny the request as it was made. I just think it doesn't meet the bar. And I really do want what is best for the church, and I'm sure that it will make regardless of the decision, it will make the very best use of its property in the future. And I also am confident that if there are safety questions, I would be, and I think the city would be very interested in working with St. Peter on that issue. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize for that taking so long, but I felt like I needed to go through it.
Thanks, Bob. Councilmember Wertz?
I'll try to be briefer.
That will be easy.
Won't be hard.
So first, I want to start off by saying I will not be recusing myself. I'm not going to waste any of our time trying to defend my intelligence or dedication to my role here as a councilwoman. I understand there are still some people that hold that stereotype that Catholic elected officials can't make decisions without deferring to church leadership. I'll just say that it was disheartening for me to see a small number of you decide to make this about where I worship without reaching out to me about your assumptions. Because as any of my colleagues up here can tell you, and any of my friends can tell you, I will gladly talk about policies related to transportation until you fall asleep. I want to focus on the discussion we should have been having, what makes this proposal so important to our city, and why I had hoped to start having a better conversation among us as neighbors. I don't think anyone should have been surprised that St. Peter submitted this application with both expansion and safety in mind. It involves a place of worship and gathering and a school split down the middle. Looking at the data, it is surrounded by streets marked in our city's Vision Zero plan as part of our high injury network, making it one of the more dangerous areas of town in terms of traffic safety. And that data doesn't even include the November instance of a car crashing into a classroom, closing their school for 3 days. Admittedly, I'm one of the more radical council members up here when it comes to transportation policies. I believe planning our city around cars over the past 70 years has created social disconnect, has had detrimental effects on our environment, and has created an acceptance to dangerous traffic situations to anyone not in a car. I want us to go back to planning our communities around green space, gathering spaces, and places where people of all ages and abilities can visit. Because of this, I also hold more value in green space than I do parking spots. I would go so far to support a request to close this stretch of Jefferson to vehicular traffic, reimagining it as a multi-use path with more green space that would further solidify Kirkwood as a pioneer in giving people and businesses a priority over fast cars. But this is not the proposal we are voting on. This proposal asks the city to give up this street for a private entity that then treat the plot of land to manage and change to fit their own designs. In terms of land value, the trade-off of this city asset for more parking spots is nowhere close to equal in terms of usage or dollars. Vacating a city-owned street in the heart of our downtown means we vacate the ability to control how that space is used for our Kirkwood community as a whole. It means we sever it from a larger stretch of Jefferson that connects two of our city's crown jewels, the Kirkwood Public Library and the Kirkwood Park, all of which means deviating from both our downtown master plan and our Vision Zero plan. Unfortunately, I will be voting no on this request, but I hope that in the future, the Kirkwood community stops seeing this as an us versus them problem and can work together with St. Peter's to find a solution to improve safety and zoning constraints that affect a historical community that was here decades before Kirkwood City was incorporated. A community that still provides gathering and education for over 6,000 of our neighbors. Because when one group of our neighbors thrives, we all thrive as a city. Thanks.
Councilmember Zimmer.
You make it really tough for me to follow you, you know that? Thank you all for being here tonight. I want to thank all of our citizens who took the time to email us. All the emails were viewed. There were hundreds of them. It took a while. They've been viewed from both sides. Thanks to all of those that came and spoke tonight and 2 weeks ago. It's important that Kirkwood retains interested and invested citizens in our future. And I see the passion and intelligent arguments that everyone has made. I'm going to keep this brief, but whatever happens tonight, we need to move forward united. We need to work together and collaborate to find solutions that will benefit the majority of Kirkwoodians. We cannot go forward divided. We must go forward united. Thank you.
Councilmember Dewey.
After spending a large amount of time walking around with all that this bill represents, it ultimately seemed to me that the most important thing I could do to prepare for tonight was to listen to the experts. I first turned to Vision Zero and Complete Streets. Vision Zero is a global movement to end traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries by taking a systemic approach to road safety. This idea was first adopted in Sweden in 1996 as Vision Zero, and since then has spread literally around the world. The premise of this strategy is that road deaths and injuries are unacceptable and preventable. The original Vision Zero subcommittee still sits on this dais. After many steps, hard work, time, money, etc., the city of Kirkwood made the very involved commitment to Vision Zero. It was a several-year journey. Our staff worked hard and long to make the tenets of Vision Zero come alive on the streets of Kirkwood. We are officially members of this international program. There are many, many goals to realize before we were accepted as a Vision Zero city. Our city planner and our city head of public works are the two men who led Kirkwood with what we do and with our streets within the tenets of Vision Zero and Complete Streets. They and all of us take this very seriously. Next, I turn to the DPZ report. The DPZ assists and recommends the cities how to work through adaptive urban design for the challenges of today's built environment. They came here. They stayed, they observed, they listened, they asked questions, they formed opinions and suggestions, and ultimately wrote an almost 200-page report. One of the streets we asked them specifically was Jefferson at St. Peter's. The report is available. But briefly, for this very part of that street, they proposed narrowing traffic lanes, different possibilities of ways to park, and a raised table crossing. They further suggested having adults at the crosswalk to help children cross the street in busy times. Neither of these well-known and well-thought-of organizations suggested vacating any part of Jefferson. We were given several possibilities for tried and true improvements that keep children safe, which is my only goal in this whole thing, no other. And that I hope you all hear what one woman said 2 weeks ago right here concerning Kaiser School improvements. They are working. Students are traveling to and from Kaiser Elementary School on a much busier street safely. And for all of those reasons, I will vote no this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some issues with the proposal as it's been given to us. We really didn't have much time to go over a traffic study, and I'm not sure why we were pushing this so quickly to a vote without really being able to study that and get public input from, so that citizens could see the traffic study as well. And then the contract with the lot. I met with a citizen recently, and he had a wonderful suggestion, which would not vacate Jefferson, it would add parking, and it would make the students safe. So I believe that there are so many other proposals that we could look at, and I would like to talk with the folks at St. Peter about that idea and how we can make it safer for the students of St. Peter coming back and forth across Jefferson for all the activities that they do, their games and everything. And again, be able to get more parking. So I am not in support of this proposal as it was presented to us.
We've heard from all council before we vote. Is there anything else from council? All right, then all in favor of first reading of Bill 11025, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no.
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 Right? Looks like one in favor, six opposed, so the bill fails. We'll move on to Resolution 22, 2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution amending Resolution 13, 2024 with Gray Bar Electric Company by increasing the purchase order amount of $1,215 for a total not to exceed amount of $25,284 for the purchase of 6-foot 15 kV line guards for the electric department, and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue an amended purchase order.
All right, I'm gonna hold off on the vote until, let's just hold on a second. Yeah. I think we can go ahead now. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. We got a motion, second. Any questions or comments? All right. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Lutzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 23, 2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Annexter Incorporated in the amount of $138,107.75 for the purchase of electric stock for underground work for the ARIA condominiums on Monroe Avenue, pending budgetary approval, and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Well, we've got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Councilmember Gibbons?
Well, I got a chance to talk to Mr. Petty about this a little bit. I mean, I think there's such a strong desire throughout Kirkwood, and I have citizens asking me, how can we get our wires underground? And in discussion, Mr. Petty explained that this area is much easier than single-family homes, and that because it's a business area, that it can be done more easily. So I just think that it's important for citizens to know, it is our desire as a city to have all of our wiring underground, our electric underground. It's extremely expensive in residential areas that are much different than this is going down a major street.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from council? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Lutzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 24, 2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution, in 24, okay. Accepting the proposal of Bazin Painting Company in the amount not to exceed of $182,000, which includes a contingency of $2,000 for the Kirkwood Aquatic Center, Leisure Pool, and Lazy River sandblasting and painting, and authorizing directing the mayor to enter into a contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Second, we got a motion, a second. Questions or comments?
22, 23, 24.
All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Lutzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer?
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons?
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 25, 2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the proposal of Navigate Building Solutions in the amount of $331,000 for design and construction services for the future Public Works building on Leffingwell Avenue, pending budgetary approval, and authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an amended contract.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
All right, we got a motion, a second. Zimmer, Lutzo. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin?
Yes.
Councilmember Lutzo?
Yes.
Councilmember Sears?
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz?
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Yes.
Resolution passes. Resolution 26, 2024.
Mayor and Council, this is a resolution accepting the bid of Daigle Truck Center in the amount of $26,000, which includes a contingency of $3,068.67 for repairs of sanitation 2017 Isuzu 8-yard rear loader truck and authorizing and directing the Director of Procurement to issue a purchase order.
Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion is second. Questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Griffin.
Yes.
Councilmember Lizzo,
Yes.
Councilmember Sears,
Yes.
Councilmember Wertz.
Yes.
Councilmember Zimmer,
Yes.
Councilmember Dewey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibbons.
Yes.
Resolution passes. No consent agenda items. City council reports. Anyone have anything to report? Councilmember Gibbons?
I just want to remind everyone that there was an art installation that went in and was reception last night, and encourage citizens to go over to the Performing Arts Center and take a look at the art. There's 3 different displays there, and I think they're all very good.
Thank you.
Remind people that on Saturday, the Kirkwood Historical Society is sponsoring a fabulous Black History Month event. It's probably too late for any additional people to get a reservation to take part in the bus tour, but you can go over to the Historical Society and see a lot of the information, and there'll be docents taking you around, and I'm not sure if I think there's other locations like Olive Chapel that may be involved, Gwinnett Cemetery, but you'd have to get your own transportation. But if, head over to the Historical Society and you can get some more information about all of that. And I commend everybody over there who, Fonda and the whole gang. I think this is a fabulous idea, and really commend them for what they're doing. And thanks to all the volunteers who are helping to make this event happen.
Great, thank you. Anything else from council? All right, Chief Administrative Officer report.
I have nothing to report at this time, Mayor.
City Attorney report.
Nothing to report.
City Clerk report.
Yes, Your Honor, I have the report of the February 7th, 2024 meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. The following action was taken. By a vote of 7-0, the commission recommended approval of a special use permit and site plan amendments for Emil Fry and Associates at 1017 West Adams Avenue for an addition to the studio. A public hearing has been scheduled for this for March 7th, 2024. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Next meeting of City Council will be 7 p.m. on March 7th. This meeting is adjourned.